I'm Peter Jennings in New York. Just a short while ago, astonishing news from East Germany, where the East German authorities have said, in essence, that the Berlin Wall doesn't mean anything anymore. The wall that the East Germans put up in 1961 to keep its people in will now be breached by anybody who wants to leave.
The communists running East Germany had opened the Berlin Wall, letting thousands of East Berliners, trapped for decades behind the wall, visit the western part of the city. Looking down on this scene, I saw the grim parade of humanity getting their first breath of freedom coming through the checkpoint. You could see the effect of all those decades of communist repression. We were greeted that Saturday morning by British soldiers ladling out hot coffee out of their Jeep cans. Then they caught sight of a bakery truck offering little packets of cookies. What a sight, these desperate people so used to waiting in line, so appreciative of even small tokens of food and fortune. Obviously, their lives have been used to the waiting, used to the desperation, not so used to getting anything good.
This was the first full day of open borders between East and West Berlin, and this party has been going on non-stop, a day that found disbelief quickly giving way to happiness. Inside East Berlin's official buildings, there were pledges of reform that once would have been mind-boggling, but today the story was being told in the streets, loudly and clearly and joyfully.
The Berlin Wall, a physical representation of communist repression, ideological division, and suppression of human rights. An image pressed into history, signifying the extreme tensions between the Federal Republic of Germany and the German Democratic Republic. Hello, I'm Jessica LePage.
And I'm Katie Galetta. As we sit here today, we will reflect on the permanent stain left on history by this structure, studying its impact on the world when it was built and, as of now, the footprint it will leave behind in its joyful deconstruction.
On November 9th, due to his lack of knowledge at a press conference in East Germany, Gunter Schabowski accidentally announced freedom of travel, saying anyone could leave East Germany from any checkpoint. In reality, this new regulation had been intended to have the application process for a visa to take many months. Upon hearing this false news, however, East and West Berlin broke out in celebration and flooded the checkpoints. The guards, bewildered at the thousands of people arriving at the checkpoints, without any proper orders, simply let them through. People started going past the wall any possible way they could, even taking action to destroy the wall themselves.
The wall falling was joyful and paved a way for political reforms in places like Poland and Czechoslovakia to become democratic. The Soviet Union no longer had the support to keep and be prepared to handle hardline communism in other countries. Still, the merging of West and East had caused economic problems. West Germany had blamed East Germany for the economic problems created when merging a communist nation back into a capitalist nation. The East was upset because they had everything given to them by the government, and were not used to having to work for things like housing, food, and other luxuries. Life before the wall still presented a struggle between communism and capitalism.
Prior to the construction of the wall, world leaders of the United States, United Kingdom, and the Soviet Union integrated in February 1945 to discuss the reorganization of post-war Germany at the Yalta Conference. During this meeting, the world leaders, Franklin D. Roosevelt of the United States, Prime Minister Winston Churchill of the United Kingdom, and Premier Joseph Stalin of the Soviet Union, otherwise known as the Big Three, determined the new boundaries of Germany to re-establish their nations. Germany was then split into 4 zones, with the 4th zone being given to France, leaving the capitalist powers in the west and the communist powers in the east. In addition, Germany's capital, Berlin, was also split between the nations in the same manner. This left the capital portion of West Berlin to be completely engulfed by the Soviet portion of Germany.
Soviet satellite countries like Poland, Hungary, and Bulgaria started restricting Western trade and formed the symbolic Iron Curtain, signifying the division of the continent. Churchill addressed the Iron Curtain in his Iron Curtain speech in Fulton, Missouri, saying that the Soviets were our allies and we should embrace their need to strengthen their nation. But the spread of communism is a threat, and he believed he could rationalize with Stalin, as seen in this clip.
From Stettin in the Baltic to Trieste in the Adriatic, an iron curtain has descended across the continent. I do not believe that Soviet Russia desires war. From what I have seen of our Russian friends, and allies during the war, I am convinced that there is nothing they admire so much as strength, and there is nothing for which they have less respect than for weakness, especially military weakness.
Stalin then took advantage of his U.S. and British alliance to gain communist control and these smaller European countries to build his nation the way he wanted. In 1948, Soviets tried to blockade Allies out of Berlin, but British and American militaries airlifted goods to the west. Eventually, Stalin called off the blockade of Western Berlin in May of 1949, after losing the battle of preventing airlifted goods.
Soon, a loophole was discovered by East Germans. Although those living in East Germany could not technically leave the country, they could travel to West Berlin. This meant that once they arrived in West Berlin, they could travel to any Allied country and live freely from Soviet control. In result, many scholars, such as doctors and teachers, fled from East Germany. This was known as the brain drain. By August 1961, nearly 20% of East Germany's population had left to West Germany. On August 13th, the wall was built.
People lived in fear. The wall tore families apart. Anyone who tried to leave or go close to the wall on the east would be killed. In June of 1989, mass murders were witnessed in Beijing, creating more fear of the Stasi. In addition to this, there was large prevention of Allied officials in accessing the eastern portion of Berlin. October 22nd began a U.S. and Soviet standoff at Checkpoint Charlie, due to the fact that East German guards were in question on if they could allow U.S. diplomat Alan Leitner to cross through. By October 27th, the Soviet and the U.S. had tanks stationed on either side of Checkpoint Charlie until October 28th, when the U.S. and Soviet Union had made a mutual agreement to withdraw tanks on the east and west side of the checkpoint, preventing the beginning of World War III.
In larger hopes to prevent a world war to break out again, on June 26, 1963, U.S. President John F. Kennedy presented an anti-communist speech showing American support in West Germany. The speech, Ich bin ein Berliner, said that West Germany had the U.S. as an ally and they did not have to worry about East German occupation. It is stated by Kennedy,
"All free men, wherever they may live, are citizens of Berlin, and therefore, as a free man, I take pride in the words, Ich bin ein Berliner."
In 1987, June 12th, Ronald Reagan visited East Germany and challenged Gorbachev to tear the wall down. He states,
"We welcome change and openness, for we believe that freedom and security go together, that the advance of human liberty can only strengthen the cause of world peace. There is one sign the Soviets can make that would be unmistakable, that would advance dramatically the cause of freedom and peace. General Secretary Gorbachev, if you seek peace, if you seek prosperity for the Soviet Union and Eastern Europe, if you seek liberalization, come here to this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, open this gate." Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
While the speech was given little coverage by Western media, many Eastern leaders spoke harshly against it, saying Reagan's words were openly provocative. The reason the gates were opened in the first place was due to the fact that the head of Eastern German press conferences, Gunter Schabowski, misunderstood the information presented to him before answering questions of the press on travel between the two sectors. In result of this, however, East Germany would finally be allowed to travel and reconnect with West Germany.